All right, settle in. This one's a long conversation, not a quick tip. You know that weird moment when you open your banking app and you already feel a little tense before it even loads? Like, you're not broke, bills are paid, you're functioning. But there's this quiet background stress, this feeling that if something went wrong, a job hiccup, a car problem, a random medical thing, it would all start wobbling pretty fast. Maybe you've tried to invest before. A little here, a little there, 50 bucks one month, 200 the next if things felt good. And every time you hear someone say, just invest consistently, you kind of roll your eyes because, yeah, easy to say. You're juggling rent, groceries that somehow cost double what they did a few years ago, subscriptions you swear you'll cancel, and life, real life, the kind that does not care about your spreadsheet. And somewhere in the middle of all that, you start wondering, am I actually making progress or am I just running in place with nicer shoes? I think about this stuff way more than I probably should, honestly. I spend an unreasonable amount of time thinking about money, the psychology behind it, and why some people seem to cross invisible financial lines while others feel stuck, even when they're doing everything right. And one of those invisible lines, the one that almost nobody talks about properly, is the moment you can invest $1,000 a month. Not once, not on a lucky month, but consistently. That number does something to your brain, and your life, and your future, in a way that smaller amounts just don't. And before you click away thinking, yeah, cool, must be nice, this isn't a video about flexing or telling you to just earn more. It's about why that milestone matters so much, why it changes how money works for you, and how thinking about it differently might actually make it feel less impossible. Because the shift isn't really about the money, it's about what that money represents. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. So, let's talk. When people first start investing, they usually focus on returns, percentages, charts, the dopamine hit of seeing a green arrow. And that makes sense. That's the fun part. It feels like progress. It feels smart. But early on, the actual dollar impact is kind of underwhelming. You invest $100 a month, then you check back after a year, and it's like, okay, that's nice, but it didn't change your life. It didn't remove stress. It didn't make you sleep better. So a lot of people quietly stop. Or they keep going, but without much emotional buy-in. It feels optional, fragile. Now here's the thing nobody really says out loud. Small investments are important, but they don't rewire your identity. They don't force structural changes in how you live. $1,000 a month does. Not because it's magic, but because it's uncomfortable. To consistently invest that much, something has to give. You can't accidentally do it forever. You either earn enough, or you build your life in a way that makes room for it. And that's where the real shift starts. I remember the first time I realized I could do it. Not comfortably, not easily, but consistently. And my first reaction wasn't excitement. It was fear. Because suddenly the stakes felt real. That money wasn't spare change anymore. It was a choice, a monthly declaration of priorities. And once you cross that line, you don't think about money the same way again. Let's slow down for a second because I want to talk about what $1,000 a month actually means in real terms. It's $12,000 a year, after tax, after life. That's not just investing money, that's future buying money. At average market returns, and yeah, averages are boring but useful, $12,000 a year over 20 or 30 years turns into something that quietly reshapes your entire adult life. Not yacht money, not private jet stuff, but freedom money. The kind where you don't panic when your boss calls you into a meeting. The kind where you can say no to things that drain you. The kind where time starts to feel like something you own again. And the wild part is, the first few $100s don't feel like that at all. They feel symbolic. Encouraging, sure, but symbolic. $1,000 a month feels structural. It forces you to confront questions most people avoid for years. What do I actually need to live? What am I trading my time for? What kind of life am I building, not just affording? And those questions are uncomfortable, which is why most people never get there. There's this common idea that investing success is about picking the right stocks or timing the market. That's mostly noise. The real separator is capacity. Your ability to consistently deploy meaningful amounts of capital without your life falling apart. And capacity is built way before you ever open a brokerage app. It's built when you decide what kind of lifestyle creep you allow. It's built when you negotiate your salary instead of just accepting it. It's built when you stop trying to impress people who don't pay your bills. $1,000 a month doesn't happen accidentally. It happens because your system supports it. And once your system supports it, everything else gets easier. You stop obsessing over daily market moves because your contributions matter more than the fluctuations. You stop chasing hype because consistency becomes your edge. You stop feeling behind because you're finally playing a different game. That's the milestone, not the number, the shift in game. Let me tell you a quick story. I had a friend, smart guy, hardworking, always reading finance books, listening to podcasts at 1.25x speed. He invested maybe $200, $300 a month for years. And he was disciplined, never missed a month. But he was also constantly stressed about money. One day he got a promotion. Nothing crazy, but enough that, after some lifestyle adjustments, he could invest $1,000 a month. And within 6 months, he was a different person. Not richer, technically. His net worth didn't suddenly explode, but his posture changed. The way he talked about work changed. The way he handled problems changed. Because he wasn't just saving anymore. He was building momentum. And momentum does something weird to your brain. It makes you calmer, more patient, more selective. You stop asking, how do I make more money fast? And start asking, how do I protect what I'm building? That's a higher level question. Another thing that happens around this milestone is that investing stops feeling optional. When you're investing small amounts, it's easy to pause, skip a month, tell yourself you'll catch up later. At $1,000 a month, skipping feels loud. You notice it. It bugs you, because that money isn't just extra, it's part of your identity now. You're someone who invests seriously, and not doing it feels like breaking a promise to yourself. That internal pressure is powerful, way more powerful than motivation. Motivation fades, identity sticks. And that's why people who cross this line rarely go back even when life gets messy. They adjust, they adapt, but they don't quit. Now, I want to address the obvious thought that's probably floating in your head right now. I can't do that. Or maybe that's for people who make way more than me. And yeah, sometimes that's true. Not everyone can invest $1,000 a month right now, or ever. And that's okay. This isn't about shame or comparison. It's about orientation. Because even if you're investing $100 right now, aiming for $1,000 changes how you think about everything. You stop asking which stock should I buy and start asking how do I increase my investing capacity. You start caring more about skills than tips, leverage than luck, systems than hacks. You might realize your problem isn't investing, it's income or expenses or boundaries or time. And that clarity is worth more than any ETF. There's also something quietly psychological about this number. At lower amounts, investing feels like an add-on, something you do after life is handled. At $1,000 a month, investing becomes one of the main characters. It gets a seat at the table with rent, food, and transportation. And when investing becomes a non-negotiable, you build your life around it instead of fitting it into leftovers. That's when compounding actually starts working, not just mathematically, but behaviorally. Let's talk about compounding for a second, but not in the usual way. Everyone loves to show charts. Start early, invest consistently, line goes up. Cool. But the most underrated compounding isn't in your portfolio, it's in your habits. When you invest $1,000 a month, you naturally become more thoughtful with money, not stingy, intentional. You notice leaks, you question purchases, you optimize without feeling deprived. Because every dollar has a job now. And over time, that mindset compounds into better decisions, higher income, fewer regrets. That's the real snowball. I also want to talk about time because this milestone changes how you experience it. Before, the future feels abstract. Retirement is this fuzzy thing way out there. But once you're investing at scale, time becomes tangible. You start doing math in your head, not obsessively, but instinctively. If I do this for 10 years, if returns stay average, if I don't mess this up, and suddenly the future feels reachable, negotiable. That reduces anxiety in a way no emergency fund ever could. There's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're building something bigger than your current paycheck, and that confidence leaks into everything. You negotiate harder, you tolerate less nonsense, you take smarter risks.
Not reckless ones, calculated ones. Because you're no longer operating from scarcity, you're operating from trajectory. And trajectory is powerful. Now, let's be honest for a moment. Getting to $1,000 a month usually sucks. It requires trade-offs. It requires saying no. It requires effort when you're tired. Sometimes it requires admitting you stayed too long in a comfortable situation that wasn't actually serving you. But the pain is front-loaded. The relief is ongoing. And that trade is almost always worth it. Here's something else people don't mention enough. At this level, investing stops feeling boring. And boring is good.
You stop tinkering. You stop overreacting. You stop thinking every decision will make or break you. You just execute. Month after month, year after year. And boring consistency beats exciting chaos every single time. I want to zoom out for a second. This milestone isn't about status. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about building a buffer between you and the randomness of life. A buffer that grows quietly in the background while you focus on living. And that buffer starts to change how heavy things feel. A bad week at work is just a bad week. A financial hiccup is just a problem, not a crisis. A career pivot becomes possible. That's the real dividend. If you're not there yet, that's okay. The question isn't, why aren't you at 1,000? The question is, what's the next lever? Is it learning a higher paying skill? Is it renegotiating your current role? Is it cutting something that doesn't actually add value? Is it just giving yourself more time? Progress doesn't have to be dramatic, it just has to be intentional. And if you are there, or close, protect it. Don't inflate your lifestyle just because you can. Don't let that number slip quietly. Don't trade long-term peace for short-term validation. You've crossed a line most people never do. Honor that. So, let's bring this home. $1,000 a month isn't special because of the math. The math is fine, it works. It's special because of what it forces you to become. Someone who plans, someone who prioritizes, someone who builds. It's a signal that you've moved from hoping things work out to actively shaping the outcome. And that's a powerful place to stand. If you take nothing else from this, take this. Don't obsess over the perfect investment. Obsess over building the capacity to invest meaningfully. Because once you hit that milestone, the rest gets a lot quieter. And honestly, quiet is underrated. You've got time, you've got options, you've got momentum. And that's a pretty good place to be.